Have you ever finished a self help book or a motivational video and felt worse? Like, instead of feeling empowered, you just felt more broken with that sinking feeling. I hear you. That feeling is not the sign that you're doing anything wrong, it's a sign that the advice itself is wrong for you. Mainstream self help is built for a very specific kind of body and mind, one that has predictable energy, linear path to success, and no chronic pain. It was not designed for disability or chronic illness, where your capacities changes day to day. So this video is your filter. We're going to identify the four most toxic self help messages so you can spot them, protect your energy, and toss them out the window when they are harmful. This is not about avoiding growth, it's about spotting what is actively working against you. Let's start with the most seductive and honestly damaging trap, the damn law of attraction. It says that your thoughts directly create your physical reality. So think positively and good things will happen. Focus on abundance and it will come to you. It sounds empowering at first, right? But here's the translation for people with disability and chronic pain. If your thoughts really create your reality, then your illness, your disability must be your fault. You attracted it. Your mindset caused your pain. It's a philosophy that puts 100% of the blame squarely on your shoulders. And the psychological impact is brutal. It creates this deep, gut wrenching shame. And you're wondering, was I not positive enough? Did I somehow make myself sick? And that shame makes you fight your own body instead of listening to it. But here's where it gets really insidious. This mindset gives society a free pass. It completely lets everyone off the hook for accessibility, medical care, basic understanding and empathy, and any social justice issue, really. If your struggle is just a manifestation of your own negative thinking, then why should workplace be flexible? Why should cities be accessible? The system doesn't have to change. You just have to think better. So that's a convenient escape hatch for a world that doesn't want to accommodate us. The truth is, your body's reality is not a punishment or a failure of positive thinking. Illness and disability are biological, genetic, and situational facts. They are not about a bad attitude. That toxic idea makes you internalize the struggle when what you really need is to ask for and demand the external support that you deserve. It turns a societal problem into a personal failing, and that's the core of the harm. And then there's the spiritual version of the same blame game. You probably heard this one before. God won't give you any more that you can handle. It's meant to be comforting, right? But if you're lying in bed, completely exhausted and in pain, and someone says that to you, how does it actually feel? Let's deconstruct it. The underlying message is that your capacity is being tested. The universe or God is giving you this challenge because you're strong enough to beat it. Now, listen to the flip side of that. If you're struggling, if you're drowning, if it feels like way too much, the implied failure is that you're just not handling it. You're failing the test. It adds a layer of spiritual guilt on top of your physical suffering. You're not just in pain. Somehow, now you're spiritually inadequate for the pain you're in. Hmm. Let's be real. Some challenges are objectively, quantifiably more than one person can handle. That's why community support systems and help exist. That's saying that teaching ignores that. It frames difficulty as a solo spiritual marathon, not a situation that might require a team. So now you feel bad for feeling bad, which is just exhausting. You think, I must not have enough faith, or I'm not spiritually strong enough. And it isolates you instead of pointing you towards the very practical help and community that could actually lift you up. Difficulty is just difficulty. It's not a divine character assessment. Honoring your struggle as real and sometimes overwhelming is the first step towards finding real support, not a sign that you're failing some kind of cosmic test. However well intentioned, teaches you to suffer in silence rather than to reach out, which is the exact opposite of what most people need to actually get through hard times. Now, this one is maybe the most dangerous of the bunch. It's the no excuses mentality dressed up as empowerment. You'll see it in fitness posts, this idea that all limits are just mental blocks that you need to overcome. If you can't do something, you just didn't want it badly enough. For someone with a chronic condition, that translation is brutal. It teaches you to ignore pain, to push through fatigue, and to treat your body's signals as character flaws. It's a direct recipe for crashing, a real disaster. Because pushing past actual biological limits doesn't build up resilience for us. No, it leads to longer, more severe recovery periods. And it confuses discipline with self harm. Your energy budget fact. This mindset tries to convince you that it's not. It makes you feel weak for needing rest when listening to your body is actually the smartest, most strategic thing you can do. Honoring your capacity is not giving up. It's working with the only body you have. The real limit is not your mind, it's the physical reality of your condition. And pretending otherwise is not motivation, it's a fast track to make everything else worse. Finally, the message that tries to silence your legitimate grief. Just be grateful. I want to be clear. Gratitude as a personal chosen practice can be beautiful and helpful. It is. But gratitude gets weaponized. It's used as a shutdown button for any expression of pain, frustration, or anger about your situation. Someone shares a struggle, and then the knee jerk response is, well, at least you have this or that. Focus on the positive. The effect is that you feel this pressure to perform happiness while you're suffering. You can process what you can't even acknowledge. Forced positivity, that blocks real emotional healing. There's a massive difference between choosing gratitude and having it demanded of you. True well being, it includes making space for your full emotional experience. That's the anger, the sadness, the grief over what you've lost or what's changed. And those feelings are not negative, they're just honest. They need to be felt and moved to, not suppressed by a platitude. You can hold gratitude for one thing and deep sorrow for another at the same time. Two things can exist. That's not being contradictory, that's just being a whole complex human being. And telling someone to just be grateful often says more about the listener's discomfort with the suffering than it does about your path to peace. So here's your one takeaway: you are the absolute authority on what helps and what harms you. Your new filter is simple. If an idea makes you feel broken or ashamed, it's probably toxic. So toss it out. Your worth is never tied to following someone else's program. Let's expose that stuff together so that we can spot it and toss it out. You deserve a lot better.